Welcome to In My Fields. I am JRE.
And I'm Emily.
And we have a very special guest. Let me just introduce him a little bit, just a tad bit. Let's go down through his resume. Actually, he worked with the Boys, EXO, and Hypen, Very, Taemin, multiple Super Junior D&E albums, Monster X, G-Friend, Astro, TVXQ, TXT, SF9, MCND, Cross Gene, and 1 to 9. Wow, that is already an all-star caliber list.
Yes. Are we missing
Blue
any?
Hour as well. I'm pretty sure.
I didn't know that this was that comprehensive, to be honest.
Really? Oh my God, no. I was just looking through your Instagram and I was like, good Lord, wow.
I mean, I don't lie at night there sort of listing out my cuts. I don't do that, so this is a good reminder.
It's dope. It's dope to look at, to see what you've worked on. Hello, Kyler.
Hello, yes.
Hi.
Hello,
Hi.
thanks for joining us.
Yes,
It's my pleasure.
Thank you.
I'm excited to be here.
If you could introduce yourself a little bit to the people.
Okay. My name's Niko. I write a bit of Kpop music. I live in London, and I'm excited to just give you guys a bit of an insight into my life today. Let's go.
Hey, thank you for that. Yeah.
Cool, yeah. Wait, Kyler, how many interviews have you done thus far in your career?
True.
I would say this is my second interview.
Really?
Second, yeah.
So your first
I've
was
really
with
been-
what, the Kpop, right?
First is with the Kpop.
Nice.
So I've been on a long journey, and it's really finding a lot of momentum at the moment. And so you guys will be my second, and I do love talking, so hopefully I get to do this more.
Yeah. You have a great voice, so it works. It works. Everybody loves the British
works out.
accent. I feel like no one likes the American accent
I do.
right now. Oh, you do?
I'm
No,
sorry, but
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
such an advocate for the American accent and just Americans. I have nothing, bad to say.
Right now? Right now?
Right? Okay, this is not a political interview.
I always heard when people's like, "Oh, I love your American accent." I realized I don't realize I had an accent. I was like, "Oh, I have an accent, I guess."
Do
There is
you?
an accent, but
I feel like you have
yeah.
a very just
I don't know.
chill voice. Kind of.
Do
I
have a
can see
distinct-
it.
I don't know.
I can see it. Anyway. Oh, Kyler, we hope you're staying safe. Are you guys, you're in a lockdown, right? The UK is in a full lockdown.
We are in our 28th lockdown.
Yeah.
I've lost
Yeah.
count.
Ah,
But it's the
crazy.
norm. It's the norm. It's crazy. But
Yeah.
but I'm good. I'm healthy. I'm working.
good.
No,
good.
that's perfect.
How busy are you right now? Like these days? How busy are you within the last 2 weeks?
Normally when at the beginning of the year when it all kick starts quite intensely, I would say there's a lot of briefs. Everybody wants songs because if my memory serves me correctly, there's a sort of quite a big release period in sort of Easter time. So January and February, writers are really aggressively writing, and it's a really exciting period, I think. So a lot of stuff's coming in. So yeah, it's good. It's good.
Hey,
Okay.
business is booming.
When is the
I guess.
slow period?
There is never a slow period.
Really?
Oh.
We're talking about K-pop here. Slow period. I would say maybe December. I think the whole world is sort of just withdrawing slightly, enjoying themselves, enjoying life, and the music industry definitely takes a small, tangible break. I would say it's never on the brakes. It's never stop. There's always work ongoing, and because writing is very much it's very much self-discipline. You decide whether you want to take 2 weeks off or whether you want to just take a few days off. So I'm massively in control of my work intensity. But I love that. Yeah.
You have a lot going, and it says business is going like crazy. I mean, it's K-pop, so everything is always moving like crazy. And it's clear that you love doing this, is your passion. And that being your passion, have you ever felt like a burnout? Since you're in control, that means you could if you do have burnout, you could just take a day off or week.
Yeah, sometimes. First of all, just because something is your passion, it doesn't make you impervious to burning out if you're mindlessly and aggressively hitting something. You know, I love K-pop, but K-pop industry is, as you know, it's fast paced, it's high demand, and you know, sometimes I have deadlines flying at me at 1,000 miles per hour, and it's a little bit like a tennis match. So you've got to bat them back. You want to return all those opportunities. But like,
interesting.
The more I've matured as a writer, the more awareness and control I have over like the burnout threshold for me. And so what it means is, like you said, you know, I've got that luxury of being able to offset that with, I don't know, eating healthily, staying active, anticipating and taking breaks when necessary. But my team at InnerV8, they are, you know, really big on a healthy balance. So they will, for example, they'll ensure that there's a good level of output, but without making us feel like we're hamsters on a treadmill. You know, we never feel like that.
I mean, it seems like you're healthy. I've seen your IG. You look like you're into fitness. But are you massive? Do you have any tips for me for like fitness? I mean, I've been losing weight too, obviously in quarantine. Like, what have you been doing?
Tips, I would say discover something that gets you moving that you enjoy, because what I find works for me and something that keeps me entertained, therefore keeping me on track with that thing, could be completely different for you. So I would start there. Exactly. What do I like doing that gets me off my chair, off my ass, and then do that thing?
True.
One of the things you said that you really like doing, or I saw in a caption, was like yoga and meditation. And are you like, as you said, like you have to be a very disciplined person with what you do with your career, but with working out, specifically yoga and meditation, are you very consistent with those?
So yoga and meditation. So I tell people that I do it every morning. That's not 100% true. I endeavor to do it every single morning, but I usually succeed. I mean, for me, you know, working on myself physically and mentally is 100% the backbone of my each and every day. Like yoga meditation specifically, it serves me in the way that it just gives me an opportunity to slow my mind down, because like naturally I'm semi-hyperactive. I think, so I've been told. And so it just gives me an opportunity to just like clarify and compartmentalize my thoughts, my emotions. But I think alongside that is, for me, it's like bodybuilding and fitness. That's a massive part of my day as well. Because those things are very much like goal oriented. And what I like about that is that, you know, it keeps me accountable and challenged like on the daily, you know, and it's good for me and it makes you look good. Who doesn't want to look good? So like those things are important to my day.
What do you do for your meditation? Do you like use guided meditations, or are you good enough where you can just sit in silence and like calm yourself?
Okay, so first thing I'd like to say is if there are any meditation gurus listening, you know, be gentle on me as I endeavor to explain my version of meditation. It's something unique to me, and essentially I'll just give you a quick run through of my practice. First thing I'll do is I'll seek out a quiet place. I'll do like a lengthy bit of breath work just to quieten my mind and my surroundings. So that includes like traffic, the fridge, my neighbor's alarm again. And then essentially I will begin a conversation with myself. So I will literally say, I will say out loud, you know, in a gentle voice, I'll just say, "Good morning, Kylo." And to that I will respond, "Good morning." I'm not crazy. Stick with me.
Crazy,
And
it's okay. Do the same.
And what follows is a series of questions and sort of earnest answers. And you know, I do this because it's really powerful because it's an opportunity for me just to apply some healthy perspective to experiences, emotions, and it's unorthodox, but it works. And I encourage people to do it because, you know, we're going through this massive pandemic. And I think it's so fundamental that we show up for ourselves and listen, you know? And so I love doing it in the morning. I love getting it done because I'm clear-headed and I can just smash through the day. So that's what I call meditation. And part of that actually is like a gratitude prayer. So, you know, just reminding myself, you know, to be grateful, because it's so easy to just accumulate success and things and then just forget what you have.
Yeah.
Which defeats the purpose, I think.
That's it. I've never heard that form of, well, I guess I have, but like, I feel like it's not as common as like, you know, the guided meditations people look out for on YouTube. So that's actually really.
I mean, my disclaimer is that it's. I don't even think it's meditation. It
is. If it calms you and centers you, right?
Label it that because.
Actually, I was pretty curious of how you actually discovered K-pop, whether it be through work or by your own time.
Coming from an Asian background, it definitely was, you know, a natural part of my environment as I grew up. You know, there was always going to be people that were listening to K-pop, and I was first introduced to K-pop and to Big Bang. I think that was the first group that I fell in love with anyway. And then from that point I knew that I wanted to be affiliated with K-pop in any way possible.
Same here. Definitely, that's the first thing that got into K-pop as well. Do you have a Big Bang bias?
Do I? Let me think. That's a hard one. Taeyang.
Taeyang? Hey,
Taeyang. I mean, bro, he's got the looks, he's got the moves, he's got the voice.
Got everything. Yeah.
He's got everything. And I remember there was a period of my teenage years. I mean, I'm still a teenager, and I was trying to wear a cap, like Tania.
Oh, like super big.
Yeah, and I just remember looking in the mirror and just being like, "You look ridiculous."
Did you have the hairstyle as well, like Taeyang's faux hawk? Because I did.
Did you?
Yeah, I had way back when. I mean, I have long hair now, but.
Wait, really, Dre?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
At least when I first got into
it.
When I first got into it, yeah, I think at least most Asian boys that looked up to Taeyang had it.
But I see.
Yeah, okay.
I had a period where I looked like a Super Saiyan. Like from Dragon Ball
I mean,
Z.
same. Same here.
Wow.
I mean, Loki, I have
I skip past those photos. Yeah, you do. Yeah.
He does.
The purple hair.
Yeah.
It does.
I do have that Trunks hair.
Wow. That's perfect, Dre. Niko, I know this is super random. So Dre just recently dyed his hair purple lavender, and before it was like a blonde gray. Yeah, it was a sick look. Kyler, do you dye your hair? Are you particular about like switching up like hairstyles and things like that? I don't know.
I'm definitely not as bold as you know, with like the colors. Yeah, clearly. And I usually just stick to kind of natural browns. And
that's good.
In terms of like dyeing and cutting my hair, I've actually done it myself since I was like 18 or 19. And it basically all started with me coming home drunk one night, and I just woke up in the shower one morning and my hair was cut. And I looked in the mirror and I was like, this looks pretty good.
Wow.
And then from there I was like, okay, look, I can do it myself. You know, how much money can I save? You know, and you know, just gradually that ability to cut my own hair just improved, and now I just, you know, for the lockdown, it's literally the most useful skill. Because I just cut my own hair. Yeah. It's so useful.
Legit the only reason why my hair is long. It's the only reason, because I don't know how to cut my hair. Yeah, I was like, and I think I might do it after this because I'm tired of having long hair. But yeah, that's a good skill.
Yeah, it's a good skill. It's like I knew it was coming.
Yeah, yeah. You mentioned the lockdown, and I wonder, with the quarantine, have there been more inspirations that you've decided to like apply to your daily life or really professionally, that maybe before without the lockdown it was harder to do in terms of like, writing and participating in song camps? If those, how, I don't even know how those are still happening, if they are in a way, but like, have you noticed any habits that you've picked up, or like any things that you have learned about yourself professionally since COVID started?
Okay, that's a big question. That's very broad. I'm gonna try and answer that. I think because songwriting is very much done in my, it's all done here in my studio, and I do 98% of my work on my own. When I say on my own, I mean like not in like a real-time collaborative environment. So for example, a producer would send me a song and I would write on it, rather than, let's say, being in a space with someone or like on a Zoom call with someone. So for me, the change has been, it hasn't really been tangible, to be honest. If anything, my life is pretty normal. The only thing I can't do is go out and have a beer. But otherwise, my life is relatively, my professional life anyway, is relatively the same. But yeah, songwriting camp wise, I haven't participated in any since this whole saga has happened. But from what I see on social media is that people are hosting these massive virtual songwriting camps, and it's awesome. It's awesome to see how technology has swooped in and just enabled people to remain connected and creative. It's all about the Zoom.
For real.
Yeah.
It is. Like right now.
So,
Yes, like
did I answer your question? I don't know if I answered your question.
No, you did. That's because you said 98% of the time you're working alone, which is interesting. Like, is that a choice, or is it like just by default it kind of happens?
I mean, I never said to my manager, look, 98% of my time I want to be on my own. I never said that. But I think that what we just analyzed, it's not as deep as analyzing, but we saw that I was producing, success, in this format, and so we just maintained it. I love working with people. I love being in the same room as people. I'm very, very social and very high energy. But I know that this is working. I know that this is working. Usually, a producer would send me a track. I would have a brief. He'd send me the track, and I'll just get on with it. And I think because I'm a songwriter, but I also vocal edit, and I do mixing as well. So I'm able to take a song from, just a production to a fully, like a decently mixed track with vocals on it. So it doesn't really need to go to any other sort of pit stops before the song is done. So it's quite a seamless process. So it just works. Yeah.
That's interesting. So literally like a one-man show type thing, almost, kind of.
Well, including the producer.
Right.
And the producer. So
right.
Yeah. So, but this year the plan definitely is to collaborate a bit more. Because collaborating with people, it's such a powerful way to introduce some new flavors, some new creative angles into the song.
Oh, for sure.
But I would say that one discipline that I've been or technique or skill or whatever you want to call it, that I've developed because of working on my own, is I've always known that because I'm on my own, I have to write a song that doesn't sound like the 10 before that I've written. So I've had to practice that skill to always approach a song differently. It needs to maybe feel different. It needs to have a different color, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The narrative needs to be different. So that's something that I'm happy with, that has been born from working on my own. Just thinking out the box every time as much as possible.
No,
Yeah.
that's amazing actually.
Yeah.
Literally though, you talked about like songs sounding different, like looking at the songs that we mentioned, or like, you know, with the boys, Bloom Bloom is very different from Electric Kiss with EXO, and Let Me In is very different from Love Killa, and you know, Mago is very different from like Famous. It's all very, and Blue Hour is its own, like I was listening to it right before, and it's all very different vibes. How do you like I know I'm sure this is like almost like $1 million question, like how do you continue to change up your vibe so that it's unique, but like do you have a way that you do that, or is it just kind of like I'm gonna try my best and that's what's gonna happen?
No, there's no like secret formula. Like I wish there was a secret formula, because I'll patent that. What I normally do is, so let's say briefs will come in. Normally the production, I'd hear the production and it will immediately, you know, it would immediately place me in a certain flavor or creative space.
Yeah.
That's immediately where my head is. And then I would normally hear that and I'd look at the brief. Normally the brief will offer some sort of guideline, a stylistic guideline. So I would take that, and then I will look at the title of the song, right? And this is kind of loose, but not loose. So for example, let's say it's a ballad. Let's say I would choose a title which, you know, will reflect a ballad, you know, stylistically, and it will work with that, and I will build the song around that title almost. But that's so there's 3 starting points, but they're just starting points. You know, as the song develops, I could go left, right. You know, that's where it really becomes its own. But those would be my starting points, I would say.
You mentioned briefs, okay, that companies are sending in to you. I'm sure obviously different companies have different ways of imparting those briefs on you. When they send it to you, are you already aware of like who else is working on that particular song with you? Or is it kind of like they will mix it on their own and then you figure out once the track is like off hold or whatever they call it, when it's not on hold anymore or something?
It differs case by case, absolutely. Sometimes I know who the producer is, sometimes I don't. So see, it always differs. Sometimes I do. Sometimes the song will come back and they'll say, look, the song is cut, I'll celebrate, you know, and you find out there's like another 9 writers on it. So it really differs. I couldn't say that there was one format which is applied. What I do to simplify the process is I never, you know, my mind is never in that place. It's always a production has come through. I need to write a hit. That's it. I need to write something that I perceive to be a hit that gives me that magic feeling, and my job is done. You know, what happens to that song after that point is in other people's hands. You know, I don't worry about things like this. I don't have the time to think about things like this.
Right. No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
You mentioned a hit, which like in your What the Kpop interview, you said that that's something you've had to develop, the taste bud for creating a hit. Do you think that every song you create must be a hit?
Guys, that's a silly question. Everything I write is a smash, really. I'm joking.
Of course.
That is
I
a
would
joke.
never ask that question.
That is
Sorry. I just realized that. My bad.
That is a joke. That is a joke.
Okay.
That's a joke, yeah.
That's a joke. I would say that as my writing has matured, so has my ability to write something that has hit potential. Some songs are more obviously special than others, and for the ones that aren't, you just have to give it a bit more love, and you just have to keep chipping away at it until it's past a particular like quality threshold. And I'm personally only content with submitting something that is of a particular standard. So and by that, you know, the way I gauge that is just it's just based on my perception of a hit, and that's the meter that I work with. You know, what I perceive to be a hit might be different to someone else's, but at the moment, you know, that's the meter that I rely on when I go, hey, here's a track, I think I like it a lot. Here you go.
Okay.
But also, you know, a fundamental part of that quality assurance process is, you know, the phenomenal producers and songwriters that I get to collaborate with. You know, they really help set those parameters to ensure that we're on the right path to finding that hit. So I have the privilege of working with people that know their shit.
No, for sure. And I mean, with those like variety of producers and artists that you worked with throughout your successful career, I like to say, is there any artist or producer that you would like to work with in the future, or like your dream artist or producer?
I'm gonna answer that just by throwing you a whole bunch of artists. Can I?
Yes.
Do it.
The ones that exist at the forefront of my mind right now would be
Manifest it.
BTS,
There we go.
Blackpink, NCT, Super M, Ariana Grande, Dua Lipa,
Hell yeah.
The Weeknd,
Oh, yeah.
Post Malone. If you can give me any of those, I'll be happy.
All of
Just give me one. Just give me one. I don't need two.
I legit been listening to Dua Lipa like for like the past week. So good.
She's
Good.
amazing. Yeah.
That's a great
Oh,
all-star
yeah.
list, so I hope that you can get all of those. We are manifesting right here, okay?
Yeah.
In 2021, all in one
All
year.
in 1 year. Oh my-
I'll put it out in the universe. Let's see if
It's there.
he's
It's
listening.
there.
It is there, yes.
Again, congrats on the success so far. Most recently from the Golden Disc Awards, you won many awards and had some of your music's been nominated as well. So my question is, how does it feel to see your work receive honorable mentions from several projects?
I mean, the Golden Disc Awards, it just blows my face off. It's just
That's how I put
total madness. It's like, obviously it's a massive privilege. I'm beyond thrilled. I think, but also it's like this beautiful wake up call that what you think are just songs could, you know, if they land on the right path, you know, they could end up being something so impactful and influential in K-pop, you know, in this industry. And
Yes.
it's just fascinating to see that, you know, happening. Also, you know, this award is such a unique kind of validation for me to, and it just gives me that opportunity to look in the mirror and go, you do actually maybe know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Been
But I
there.
think what's great about that is that award is really the work of everyone in between me co-writing the song, to the labels, to my publishers, to the fans. You know, they are all part of that matrix which have got it to that point. So really, I got to thank, you know, that chain, because,
For sure.
and obviously the artists, really. But thrilled, yeah.
Are there any awards that, again, manifesting type thing, that you would love to be able to receive in the future? There's an obvious one,
Big one.
right?
A Grammy.
Right?
There you go.
Yeah.
The biggest one.
Yeah. Clearly.
He just says Oscar.
I would hate
Yes.
to go.
Yeah. Stupid question.
Um,
Okay. We've been talking about you working on other music, but we know that you have a solo project coming out very soon.
That's right.
What are your plans with your own music and goals with your own music?
Okay, so my solo stuff, I will first of all say that it's not coming out soon.
Oh, it's not.
It's not coming out soon. It's something incredibly exciting that's happening alongside all the K-pop writing that's happening. And at the moment, I'm not in a rush to release anything. I'm in this phase where I'm trying to discover my identity, my sound as an artist, and because the K-pop is, you know, it's really taking off. That's really being, you know, the at the forefront of my diary, let's say. But my goal is 100% to yeah, to just deliver my voice out there to the world, because I do hundreds of demos, you know, and only people that get to hear them are myself, my team, and you know, and A&Rs, and I just think it'll be really rewarding for me to be able to have a different type of output, you know.
No, for sure.
And I just love the world to hear my voice, you know.
Yeah.
Apparently it doesn't sound too bad.
No, it
Hey,
doesn't.
let's
I've seen a
go.
couple of the covers you did with it was Clean Bandit, Rather Be, from like a couple of years ago. That was really good.
That's not a couple years ago. That was like 7-8 years ago.
Was that
My
7-8 years? Okay.
My stuff is very different. No.
Oh, okay.
Very different now, yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. So is it this year? Do you envision anything, or like how do you have a timetable, or is it just kind of like as it comes, or as it develops?
It's definitely, yeah, it's definitely just going with the flow, I think. I'm riding this K-pop kind of wave at the moment, and it's so exciting. And you know, alongside that, if I gain some momentum with my solo project and it's doing something cool, then this year would be a great goal. Stay tuned.
Stay
Stay
tuned.
tuned, for
Okay.
real.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say that was my before I asked that question. Because the podcast is called In My Feels. Has there ever been a time where you're writing, or let's say you're going through a breakup, you've been ghosted, or
All the time.
All the time? Okay. Ditto. Anyway, so you're going through that. Anyway, or I don't know, you lose somebody, like, and you are just like, I'm gonna sit down and crank out this song because I'm in my feelings, or is it normally just like, how often are you actually like emotionally like feeling something as you're creating?
So I get asked this a lot as a songwriter, and I wish that I could be that type of songwriter that goes, I pour out all my feelings, and it, you know, it forms this, you know, miraculous single, and through my feelings. But I've just never been that guy. I think also with K-pop, it's very much like, for example, I find it, you know, a lot of my lyrics that I write for K-pop, it's quite detached from real life.
Yeah.
So I think in that sense, you know, it's already difficult for me to like find commonality between something that happens in my real life with something that happens in K-pop. I don't know. That's. I've never felt I've had to reach in for inspiration.
Okay.
But you never know. Maybe that's what's missing. You know, maybe that's something. Well, not missing. Maybe that's, you know, a new, you know, string to my bow that I can add this year. Maybe. But it hasn't been something that I do actively.
Okay.
But I've never been the sort of person to also use writing music as a therapeutic activity as well. You know how some people, they're going through something and they get over it through like spilling that emotion into lyrics, for example. But I've just never done that. I just go to the gym and just run 1,000 miles.
That's good too.
Yes.
Actually.
Love that.
Who would you say is your music inspiration?
But as in like one person?
Nah, man, you could name drop as many as you want.
I was talking about this with my manager literally a couple days ago. And all of my songwriting really stems from the music I used to listen to between the age of like, 12 to like 20. And it was all boy bands. It was all like boy bands. It was like, with a lack of shame, I will admit that I loved Backstreet Boys, you know, Backstreet Boys, NSYNC.
Everybody did.
All of those bands, you know, they're freaking awesome. They're freaking awesome.
Yeah, me too.
Why they are a huge part of my songwriting is because it's so melodic. They're just like timeless melodies, you know.
Very true.
Big hooks, and that's definitely, the library that's inside of me. When I write, I access that library. So it's sort of them, like the Michael Jacksons, all of them. In terms of like new influences, definitely Post Malone. Love his stuff. What a genius. But I would say it really circulates around, those few.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, so you were 12 when Backstreet... You look... Wait, maybe I'm getting... You just listened to Backstreet Boys. You look really young. You weren't 12 when they were, like, popular, right?
Oh, no, I was...
Okay.
No, I was... I think I was... Maybe I was. I'm 30 this year.
Really?
Oh, so we're the same.
Yeah.
You guys are the same age.
Because I was like around that age too. So I was like,
Really?
Yeah, exactly. I know I hit the big 3-0 this last year.
same. Wait, when's your birthday?
September the 5th.
Oh, I'm August 31st.
Oh, wow.
You guys are
both.
Virgos.
We are. Virgos are the best.
Oh,
There
really?
are so many excellent qualities in being a Virgo.
Like
Yeah.
what?
Hey.
What are the excellent qualities?
Great hair,
Yeah.
clearly.
hair,
Great
good
hair.
True.
Appreciate it.
So yeah, I was listening to Backstreet Boys NSYNC when I was sort of that age. And a lot of indie music I was listening to as well. Like, yeah.
Same.
Most of the time you're working by yourself. Were there ever times you were actually collaborating with the artists themselves?
I've done it a couple times, but I can't disclose which ones.
Makes sense.
As usual.
Those are really exciting environments, definitely. Really unique. The pressure is on as well.
Ah.
But like a really
Sure.
exciting pressure. So just a couple of times, but I'm definitely that sort of guy where I would be drawn to doing that more often. I'm definitely an energy person. And
Feed off energy, feel.
yeah, absolutely. I like to, absorb that energy in a room. I like to, give some of that energy as well. And I think that's potentially conducive to something cool.
Was there the lowest you've ever been, but no one knew? Or what was the lowest? Have you ever been through those moments? I'm pretty
Never.
sure
I'm
we're human.
always happy.
That's a lot.
Okay, this is a deep question. Okay.
Welcome to In My Feels.
Yeah. So I would say the winning low moment would have to be around 6 years ago.
Okay.
I was in a place where I felt like, all my years of investing time, energy, and passion, it wasn't really paving any sort of solid ground for me. And I would see my friends, my non-music friends anyway, getting promoted left and right, just making like tangible career moves. And I was firmly living at home. I was working like 3 jobs while songwriting. Because when you're songwriting, it's difficult to like invest a lot of time down another path, that's solid as well. But anyway, so I was in this place. It was challenging. It was tough. And I'm a very resilient person. This has been going on for quite a while. And
Oh, for sure.
I remember striking a deal with myself, and I said, look, if I don't succeed or hit it big in 1 year's time, I would quit music. And with great serendipity, I would go on to meet my now manager in that year. And fast forward 4 years. It was 5 years ago. 4 years, and I'm here speaking with you guys. Isn't that great?
Nice.
Hey,
Yay.
that's crazy. Nah.
So the universe is real. Like, be nice to the universe.
Oh, for sure.
It's
I agree.
listening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting when people say when they make a deal with themselves, or like when you get serious, not serious, but like, I don't know. There's like a moment when like this is going to happen or it's not, kind of thing, and then it somehow, like you said, like comes together. It's very magical and cool.
I'm very humbled and lucky for those pieces to have fallen into place like that. Yeah.
That's awesome. Congrats.
Okay.
You've made it very far, obviously, with the success you've had.
Yeah, it's still going.
Yeah, still
It's
going.
not even the end.
Yeah.
It's too early. With that being said, what is your motto or advice you live by?
Work hard,
True.
play hard sometimes.
I agree.
Way hard.
So play
Can't
hard
do it now,
sometimes.
but-
You know, I believe that if you rigidly stick to that, I guarantee that you'll always be walking in forward motion, head above water,
Yeah.
and you'll be doing it happily. I'm socially hyperactive. I feel I also have an addictive personality, so that's my way of, you know, keeping myself self-disciplined and on track. You know.
It seems like you have like a lot of friends and a lot of like fun times with your friends. That was one of our questions. I was like, how do you manage to balance between like, you know, having fun, which like, you know, both Jay and I love having fun, but then like also like, you know, making deadlines or like, you know, that kind of thing.
You don't sleep.
You don't sleep. That's
Yeah, you don't sleep. Well, I think I've been very fortunate to have quite a fortunate upbringing in that I've, you know, gone through the whole educational system. You know, I've had all of that support from my parents. So through that, I've really, you know, discovered and appreciated responsibility and why it's important. And I think from that, I've applied that to music, because music is no one sits there and goes, you have to do this, you have to do that, if you want this, if you want that, you know, and you have to apply those that self-discipline yourself if you want those things. And I think just after so many years, it just becomes the standard, you know, method of working, and that's become just standard mindset. But also, like, I think it's important that you go out and have fun as well. You know, I fully subscribe to the notion that you don't live to work. You know, you work to live. You know, it's so cliche, but it's true. And also, when you're going out and you're having loads of fun, you're educating your body and your mind that when you work hard, you get rewarded. You know, so. But definitely that motto is just like a simplified discipline, like mental discipline to stick by, and that's how I work, and it just works. Yeah, it's what keeps me out of trouble, because I know that I will get into trouble if I don't externalize myself like that and go, stay in the studio, be a good boy.
Interesting. Okay, interesting. Speaking of your
that.
studio, in the background you have some gold birds, right?
I do.
What is the meaning of the birds? Why are they there?
I wish I had some deep meaning.
I knew it.
Okay.
I literally went.
I was like,
I literally just went into Google and I went cold wall decor.
I see. Okay.
No, I'm a massive interior design fan. So I definitely, and I'm really into sort of like rustic decor. And so if you look at my studio, everything is like natural. You can't see the rest of it, but there's a lot of natural materials. And birds it just incorporated a bit of nature into my studio, and I think nature is really important to me. You know, animals and nature and all that's really, you know, important to me, and that just you know includes a bit of that into the space that I'm in all the time. And there's something freeing about birds flying. So
no, it looks beautiful. You said you like animals, or you have a passion for animals. You donate a lot to, or sometimes to, the World Wildlife Foundation, if I'm...
I do, yeah.
Yes.
I wouldn't sit here and say a lot, but it's something that I don't think I'm particularly active in, like, applying myself in terms of my daily sort of way of living, and sort of making sure that it's environmentally friendly. I know I don't do that enough, you know, and my way of offsetting that, I guess, is donating, And yeah, I wish I could give more. Hopefully that's something I can do later on. But yeah, who doesn't like animals?
That's a great thing to do. Some people don't donate at all, so it's like a good thing to think
But that's
about.
okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
You know.
What do you enjoy the most when it comes to songwriting and producing?
Probably when the music video comes out. Does that count as the process?
I mean, yeah, it's like a completed puzzle.
Yeah.
Okay.
You could see.
Yeah, I would say that. Okay, so like outside of my writing process is the music video. That is like, it's such a cool moment, right?
Yeah, for sure. I bet.
I think inside the songwriting process, I would say when I've just finished the song, I've just tied it all off, everyone's happy with it, I'm happy with it, and it's a song which is giving me all the feels, right? And like it's feeling big, it's feeling good, it's pulling me emotionally in all the right places, and I'm bouncing off the walls. That is like the moment. Like I would repeat the song 10, 20 times, just the vibe in it, you know, and
Okay, yeah.
and in that moment I'm just ecstatic. It just feels like friggin' awesome. Yeah.
Can you tell us a song where you felt that way?
All night. From with Astro.
Yeah.
Margot. Your friend.
Margot.
I absolutely love that song. It's very
That's a
special.
really good song.
Very special to me. And all the ones that have been released, to be honest. But it's especially those two, I would say.
Okay.
Nice.
What challenges do you have to go through, or what motivates you to grow as like a songwriter producer?
I'm very competitive with myself. I'm very competitive with myself. I set probably too much. I set like a vision for myself at every point that I reach. It's a new vision, it's a new goal, and that's always been like a driving factor for me.
For sure, yeah.
But also, I think also just songwriting. I believe that is what I was. It sounds really cliche, but what I was born to enjoy and to be in. Because when I was younger, although there was a vision to, I wanted to be in music. I wanted to be a songwriter, whatever, I had to continuously create situations where I would have to grow in. For example, I'd have to learn how to use tech. I'd have to go into the studio. I'd have to work on my voice. These, just challenges I'd have to sustain over and over again. As a young person, I believe that you have to love that thing to do that to yourself. So I just believe I just love what I do, and that in combination with just being very competitive with myself is probably the formula for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Do you become like obsessed sometimes with your work?
Like healthy obsessed or bad obsessed?
Yeah, healthy. Hopefully it's healthy.
Okay.
But there's bad too, I guess. Yeah.
Obsessed. Like I'm trying to define obsessed.
Like,
so,
I mean, it's your passion, so
Yeah.
I feel like.
I would say that I rely on it sometimes to bring joy to my day. Not joy, but like purpose, fulfillment, and joy.
Okay.
It gives me a lot of joy, and I'm obsessed with it in that way. I know that I wouldn't be able to do anything else which will, give me those qualities. So I'm definitely obsessed with it in that way. I'm obsessed with it in the way that I self-reflect and go, that is one of the coolest things about me. I'm obsessed with it in that way. I'll say, look, that's definitely, if I was to talk about my life when I'm older, I'll be like, songwriting was definitely one of the top things.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
So I'm obsessed with it in that way, I guess, as well. I'm obsessed with
sense.
it in the way that it has allowed my parents to be really proud of me.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's nice.
That's
Yeah,
true shit, yeah.
it's really great in that way. Yeah.
Nah, that's nice. What have you learned about yourself in the past year, though? Like, in this 1 year?
I've learned more about myself definitely than any other year of my life, 100%. I think that being in lockdown, I think this is common in every other person in the world right now. I think that lockdown, it just really forces you to be in a space with yourself, and you're forced to learn a lot about yourself. You know, you're facing a lot more mental challenges, you know, more than ever before. And yeah, I've discovered ways in which I can affect and influence my mental health. You know, I've learned ways in which I can do that physically as well. And it's like what I said before, the yoga and meditation, it just gives you that really important opportunity to show up for yourself. And I've also learned my limitations as well. I've also learned
Interesting.
my parameters in which I need to keep myself mentally. If anything, it's been more of a journey in learning about myself in here.
No, for sure. Mentally.
And that is like a whole new game. Like, or like,
I agree.
honestly, it's what people look at your social media, they look at all the lights, you know, it's shining bright, you know, and they think
It's all highlights.
it's all they think this guy's life is perfect, blah 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 blah. And in reality, you know, it's never just those highlights. There's everything in between, you know, and I'm very open about, you know, admitting that, you know, that I am with challenges as well, you know, and this year it has been sometimes like battering, sometimes, you know? So that's happening behind the doors, you know, but I've.
No, for sure. We're all human.
At what point can you remember during the past year did you feel like you learned a lot about yourself? If there was like one point where you like learned a lot, or where you reached that limitation that you realized that you hadn't known about before?
I don't think there was one point, but I think over the past year, it's been a journey where I've been trying to pursue like happiness and purpose. You know, it sounds so cliche, but you know, when you have success, automatically your mind has it gives it now the space, because that's been done, you know, and that's kind of out the way. It opens up this other space in your mind to now concern about, oh, you know, what makes you happy, you know, what's your purpose, you know, and all that kind of stuff. And so it opened up that box in my head, and before I knew it, you know, that was a pursuit that was happening throughout the year. And I'm actually reading this book at the moment. It's called The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you guys have heard of it.
Yeah.
But it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah.
And it's so counterintuitive. But one thing that I'm only on like chapter 3, but one thing that I've really that I've taken from it that I'd like to share, and it kind of aligned with what I realized anyway. But so it tells us that you need to like create problems and then solve them, and in doing that you will find happiness, you know. And I've realized that throughout my life, everything has been problems that I've created. Not problems, but challenges / opportunities to grow. And when you overcome it, so for example, getting a songwriting, getting a hit, getting a cut, getting EXO, you know, those are all problems that I wanted to get EXO. And then when you solve it, it's when you have happiness. And that was something that all kind of pieced together, and that's where I am right now. You know, I'm quite solid on that mindset.
That's a very interesting way to think about, like, problems create like happiness, which makes sense. It totally does. I've never thought about it like that, but that makes sense. Yeah.
So, like, for example, if let's say you just like something that brings you happiness, let's say it's watching Netflix, you know. If someone gave you the opportunity to sit down and watch Netflix for one whole week, I don't know, some people might love it, but that is an overindulgence in that is an overindulgence in happiness, if that makes sense. And then eventually that fades, you know, and
True.
you feel bad, you don't feel productive, you know, and that's the reason why that happens is because humans are engineered to, you know, constantly seek improvement, you know, and that's why we get bored of things. That's why we accumulate success, and yet we never feel happier than we did before, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like for example, let's say I've got a small house now. I'm feeling a particular level of happiness, and I work myself up to a point where I get a bigger house, you know. That happiness is not greater than this one. It's not greater just because the house is bigger. But I guess what I'm saying is it's simply the process of creating a problem, an opportunity that you want to overcome, and overcoming it, you know. So the reality is there is no, which is what I was looking for, you know. I was looking for like this divine destination, you know. I'm going to get all these cards, you know, and then I'm going to be at this divine place.
Right.
That doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. And I'm okay with it not existing, because that keeps me rolling. It keeps me, you know, working. It keeps me improving, you know. How did we get to this point?
Yeah. No, but it's good.
It's just
very
it's
philosophical.
just the conversation.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was good. Yeah, that's true. Like once you get to a point and you were like waiting for that for like 5 years, and then you're like, wait, it doesn't feel as great as I thought it was gonna feel, but it feels okay. Like, you know.
Yeah. So like this is the last thing I'm gonna say, because I know I'm taking up all your time, but it's
fine.
Like absolutely that I totally advocate for people to have vision and to have an end goal, because you need to know where you're going if you're gonna be able to choose the right action. But you have to love the process. You have to love the journey, because like I'm teaching myself that, you know, as well every day. It's a discipline of mine. No, just being able to record music, write music, that doesn't need to make me happy, but I need to allow myself to find joy in that, rather than just when I get a cut, you know. Right. Because otherwise you spend your life thinking like you don't have enough, like you haven't won enough, you know. Right. So my advice to everyone is, whatever you're doing, you know, enjoy the process as much as you enjoy the wins. And that will keep you going always and feeling good.
Yeah. No, yeah, it was very philosophical, and we like that here, so we appreciate it.
Okay,
Thank you. For those listeners who have not followed you yet, where can people find you, Kyler?
Just go into Instagram, type in Kyler Niko, KYLERNIKO, and that's like the hub of my life.
Yeah.
Come join me.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, thank you so much, Kyler, for joining us on In My Feels. It was lovely having you.
Thank you, guys.
Yes.
And that's it for In My Feels. I'm JRE.
I'm Emily.
I'm Kyler Niko.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you for
See
watching.
you later.